During the holiday season, one of my favorite ways to impress guests is to take something a little simple and make it a little special. We're gonna bake a pumpkin coffee cake inside our GP5 stainless steel skillet. Now, one of the things I love about our GP5 stainless line is not only is it absolutely gorgeous, but because it has such a heavy gauge construction, you can bake in it really well. I've got a 10-inch size, which is gonna be perfect for this round cake. And I have the oven on at 350 degrees preheating. To make this pumpkin coffee cake, it's what's called the muffin method. And all that means is you're always gonna have two teams, team dry and team wet. So we're gonna start with team dry for our cake. We've got some all-purpose flour in here, along with a little bit of salt, baking soda, and baking powder to make the cake rise. And since it's the fall, we've got all those amazing warming spices. So we've got nutmeg, a little bit of ginger, tiny bit of cloves, and then of course, cinnamon. And we're gonna give these a whisk just to make sure everything's very well incorporated. The whole reason why we separate these out into two teams is because flour has gluten. And as soon as the flour gets wet and you start mixing it, that gluten starts getting stretchy and tough, which is good for bread, bad for cake. But we also wanna have an even mixture of our baking soda and baking powder and all those warming spices. So to make sure those are evenly distributed, but without over mixing the cake, we have to do this separately first. Then we can switch over and take care of team wet here. We've got a little bit of canned pumpkin, also some light brown sugar. We've got some milk, some maple syrup, and some oil. And the oil is really gonna help give a tenderness and a softness to the cake. So I'm gonna switch tools over to a silicone spatula. It's gonna allow us to gently and evenly combine these two. And we're gonna take the wet, dump it into the dry, is what's called a folding technique. So you take your spatula, go all the way down to the bottom of the bowl, bring it to the other side and fold the bottom up over the top. And you give a turn and just kind of keep repeating that process. As long as you're just folding this and stirring this gently and you don't overmix it, we're gonna be fine. As soon as I don't see any little pockets of flour left, I'm gonna walk away and leave it alone. We're gonna transfer it over into our fry pan in just a moment. But first, it's not coffee cake unless you have a delicious sugary crumble on top. In another bowl, we've got some more all-purpose flour, brown sugar, and cinnamon. Now, we just wanna get this all evenly combined. If you've never seen one of these before, this is called a pastry blender. And now I've got some cold cubed butter, which I'm gonna add in. As you push and turn it down in, it's gonna cut your butter into these small crumbs and help bring this crumble topping together. All the butter is cut into the flour and the cinnamon and the sugar. So if you get in here with your hands and you just give it a little squeeze, it should hold together like that, but still be able to break apart into smaller pieces. So with our batter and our crumble topping done, let's transfer this over to our GP5 fry pan and get it into the oven. And also try and smooth the top the best that I can. Now, when I'm doing a crumb topping, I like to squeeze it together like this, like I did when I tested it, because it allows me to break it off in some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces, and all those different textures look really great on the top of the cake. And very carefully, just give it a little press down into the batter, and that's it. Ready for the oven. I'm gonna transfer it over there, cook it at 350 degrees for 30-35 minutes until when we test it in the center with a little toothpick, it comes out clean. We're gonna make up a really quick icing. So we're gonna take some confectioner sugar, a little bit of vanilla, and some milk, and just whisk this together. So I'm gonna take just a little pinch of salt. Sometimes the consistency can change depending on your confectioner sugar. So what we're looking for is something that's thin enough to pour really easily, but just thick enough that it'll hold a little shape on the cake. I'm just gonna drizzle the glaze all over the top, and that's it. Your pumpkin coffee cake ready for the table, all baked to perfection in our GP5 skillet. If you're looking for more quick, easy, and impressive bakes like this one, go over to our website and check out our blog, The Cook's Journal. Me and the entire kitchen team have put together an amazing collection of recipes that you're gonna wanna bake any season of the year.